Call to order the Committee of the Whole for Tuesday, October 26, 2021. Let the record show that all aldermen are present. First on our agenda, we've got a discussion item on Governor Hochul's meeting transparency legislation. So the information should have been passed out to all of the aldermen. The governor is now requiring, starting in November, that any proposed resolution, law, rule, policy, or any amendments thereto is scheduled to be subject of discussion by a public body during an open meeting shall be made available upon request. Therefore, to the extent practical, as determined by the agency or department, at least 24 hours prior. So that's really the gist of it. So it means that, in my opinion, that any resolutions, that laws or changes that we want to bring forward must be printed and produced online on our website at least 24 hours in advance of our open meeting. This is an attempt to increase transparency amongst local government. So I'm just bringing this up with the council and our mayor, and ask for any thoughts or comments. Mayor, do you want to address what Jack Hart suggested at all?
Yeah, Jack sent an email to myself and Tiffany earlier today. I forwarded it on to John. I had Tiffany forward it on to her. And the section is here. I'd be happy to share this with all of you. But just what John said, starting, this law was signed October 19th, so 30 days, so that'd be like November 19th. Any of our meetings now, we're going to have to make sure that we have the items on our website or to the media at least 24 hours in advance. So that would be what I believe what you're saying is there sometimes we have things that are put on the agenda right the night of. So I think we're going to have to make sure that we have the 24-hour notice on even those items there. So.
Yeah, and I want to also, I'll follow up with the city attorney on this item. Sometimes, one of us might be doing a presentation. Now, I had a little bit of a debate on this with one of the aldermen. Sometimes I'm working on that presentation right up until the final minute we get here. Now the topic itself, all right, should be subject to that 24-hour rule, but I don't believe it's necessary for us to have any and all notes or presentations published at 24 hours in advance. After we do that, I do submit the presentation to the, or any of us would have to submit the presentations to Tiffany to post that after the fact. But that's how I read this and interpret it. But I want to make sure with Jack that we're good to go there.
I'm sure we'll also get some guidance from NICOM on this too.
So like, for example, John, we have 2 resolutions that are on for tonight, right? Under this law, these are off the table today.
That's my understanding. There may be some, just like in any sort of legal language, there may be perhaps some gray area there. Alderman Gonzalez, as you read through it, it says, to the extent practical. Okay, so, I guess that's some gray area, meaning, you do your damnedest to make sure everything gets posted 24 hours in advance. If there is an emergency resolution, the fire department requires funding to demolish a dangerous house. I don't know, I'm just some situation. I'm wondering if that's not allowable, and I think the mayor makes a good point, maybe a follow-up at NICOM would certainly help on this too. Any other questions or comments?
Years ago, John, when I was on council, we used to have, I think it was Friday before our Tuesday meeting was the deadline if we wanted to put any resolutions in. So maybe we should just do a standard procedure like that, say if we want to do anything that's non-emergent, that Friday would be the deadline to put it in. And the council members and everybody has the weekend to read it.
It's pretty much what it is now.
That is the policy right now. So the policy is our council secretary posts our council agendas by Friday afternoon. But this would still allow, if something were to come up over the weekend or even on Monday, as long as Monday by 6 p.m., the city posts, again, something critical needs to be addressed the following day, the city has the opportunity to still post a resolution Monday by 6 p.m. for us to discuss by Tuesday at 6 p.m. But I agree with you, Dave. I think we should make that common practice. Any other questions, comments? Okay, so we'll get a little bit more information on that as we move forward. So next we have PL 68-21 by Mayor Alio to designate Mayor William Alio as the authorized representative to execute all necessary agreements, contracts, and documents associated with the Coronavirus Response Relief Supplemental Appropriations Act, funding at the Cattaraugus County Olean Airport. And this is also related to PL 69-21. So 69-21 is associated with the American Rescue Plan Act funding. And PL 70-21 is related to the CARES Act, the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act funding for the airport as well. So these three are related to COVID relief and the Olean Airport. Mayor?
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and bring speak on these.
So part of the federal buyouts, funding was set aside for airports. That funding is allocated to the FAA, and then they determine what each airport would get. It was a specific amount of money. We were notified of that a while ago, and we've talked about it before. So these particular resolutions are to give us permission to apply for the funding. They're being treated as grant applications by the FAA. So we've been working through the process. We're offsetting things like employee costs, heating costs, electric, things like that. So we're submitting that. A lot of the paperwork's already been done, but we need a resolution that gives us permission to apply for this funding, and it's revenue that goes basically right to the city.
Okay, very good. While on the topic, Director Ring, I wondered if maybe you could give us just maybe a brief update on how the Olean Airport has been operating in recent months.
Sure. We have 3 capital projects going right now. One is an HVAC project that Kevin and I are working on. We're going to be replacing at least one of the burners for the main hangar. It's 100% funded by DOT. It's a grant that we applied for a couple of years ago. That unit is 15 or 20 years old and ready for replacement. So we're in the process of that. The runway is going to be replaced in the spring. That was a grant application. That ended up being 100% funded. We talked a lot about trying to raise funds for that. The FAA also through the federal stimulus, funded that project 100%. And then we're in the design phase of replacing the taxiway. We're going through a multi-phase pavement replacement through our FAA grants. At the end of this year, just looking at the funds that we've gotten through really everybody's hard work between the county and the CARES Act, I think we're gonna at least break even at the airport this year. So going from the first year that I was here, and you all brought concerns to me that we were losing 150,000 or more up there, bringing it down through cutting spending and through only applying for grants up there, we brought it down to about 60,000 per year in losses. And this year, you know, I think we're going to be at least even. So we've made a lot of strides through everybody's hard work.
Yeah, I think that's really incredible to hear, and I know that was always something that was of a concern of mine, and kudos to you, the mayor and the management of the airport. The changes are noticeable, and much appreciation for the aid the county has kicked in, and I know we were kind of heading in the direction, Mayor, of working on a long-term strategy, and then I think COVID hit. We were reaching out to some of our county legislators there and seeing if we could maybe collaborate a little bit more on the facility, but then I know everything kind of went by the wayside there. So do you have any thoughts, Mayor?
Yeah, we have not forgot about that, and, yes, Frank Higgins is still interested in getting, you know, the workable committee together and working on that, so we will continue to push forward with that.
Great, thank you. Any comments or questions? Alderman Witt?
Thank you. Director Ring, I noticed, I think it was a week or so ago in the paper, there was something from the county to help with the airport for $85,000. Is that in a project, or is that something related to something the county's doing up there?
Yeah, the county used to provide us with 17,000 in funds to help with the airport. That number increased last year, and that was probably something that was seen in their budget again this year. So they're giving us again 85,000 in this year's budget. So that's the second year in a row that that number has increased. Hopefully it'll stay at that level because it really helps tremendously with our operations.
But is it kind of dedicated to a certain thing, or is it just for us to decide what to spend it on?
The mayor may have, you know, more knowledge on me than me on it, but, you know, because he did the work on it, and we've used it towards our capital project to match.
Yeah, I'll have to, there again, I'll have to get to, with them. I'm not sure, I can't remember what the restrictions were on that money. I know it was, originally they said for projects, you know, or equipment or things like that, so, I'll have to get back to the county and, see what restrictions are putting on that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, any other comments or questions? All right, so seeing none, we'll just kind of go down the order here. Could I get a sponsor for PL 68-21?
I'll sponsor.
Sponsored by Alderman Witt. Could I get a second?
I'm sorry.
Second by Alderman Anastasia. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That's referred to tonight's regular meeting for resolution. PL 69-21. Could I get a sponsor for that? Sponsored by Alderman Panis. Could I get a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Alderman Barnard. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried and referred to tonight's regular meeting. And I'll go ahead and sponsor the next one. Could I get a second, please?
Second.
Second by Alderman Witt. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried and referred to tonight's regular meeting. Next on the agenda here is PL 71-21. By myself, to amend the City of Olean Code of Ordinances, Section 24-135, to include the north side of Washington Street at its east corner with Wharton Avenue and its east corner with Winters Avenue. Is that supposed to say no parking here at corner? Or no? Is that what?
Section 1, or 24-135 is no parking here.
Okay, so section 24-135 is no parking here at the corner. I've been receiving some concerns and some calls. I have a collection of pictures of cars that are parking right up to the corners of Warden Avenue as well as Winters Avenue. And it makes it very difficult and unsafe to try to pull out of there when these vehicles are parked right up. Winters and Warden are small streets, and so this is just putting up signs, enforcing to help enforce, I guess, or help visualize what the law already is. So no parking near the corner is, what is that, Bob? How many feet is that off the top of your head? 20 feet from the back of the sidewalk? Okay. So we need to, if this is passed here tonight, it's got to be published, and so that's why we have it on the agenda. So I would entertain any questions or comments. Alderman Webb?
Did the police and fire do their part? I know we've been going through them with signs.
We've been going through them with signs. Did I reach out to?
Yes.
Just curious.
I did, didn't I?
Yes, and the
Police
chief,
chief,
the fire chief
Yeah.
reported that they had no issues with this.
Yeah, thank you. I know there was another issue that I brought forward, so I'm trying to get the two mixed up here, but yes, and Bob, you had no issues with this, right? It's just, like I said, it's signs enforcing what the current law is, so. Any other comments or questions? All right, seeing none, I'll make a motion. Could I get a second, please?
Second.
Second by Alderman Gonzalez, all in favor? Aye, opposed? Motion carried and is referred to the regular meeting Tuesday, November 9th, 2021. All right, it's got to be published. Any other issues for committee of the whole? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Could I get a second? Second by Alderman Robinson, all in favor? Aye, opposed? We are adjourned. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Common Council for Tuesday, October 26th, 2021. Will the clerk please call the attendance roll?
Alderman Witt,
Yes.
Alderman Pettis. Here. Alderman Gonzalez.
Here.
Alderman Bernard,
Here.
Alderman Robinson,
Here.
Alderman Anastasia,
Here.
and Alderman Crawford.
Here, please rise for the invocation.
Father, as the events of the day continue to unfold, we seek your clarity and your peace. We know you are with us as we gather today to seek your counsel. Scripture reminds us, the more we seek you, the more we'll find you. Lead our surrendered heart to the path of your peace today. Come fully into our situation, both as a group and individually, and sort out the moral feeling and distorted thoughts that plagues us. Cover us with a blanket of honesty and patience that is not of this world. In your name we pray.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Reading, correcting, and approval of the minutes of the previous regular meeting.
The regular meeting of the Olean Common Council was held on October 12, 2021 at 7:15 p.m. Present, Alderman Crawford, Alderman Witt, Alderman Pettis, Alderman Gonzalez, Alderman Bernard, Alderman Robinson, and Alderman Anastasia.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous regular meeting. Could I get a second, please? Second by Alderman Panis, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Committee reports and unfinished council business.
We have none.
Communications from the mayor.
Thank you. I just want one thing. I'd just like to introduce Max Wolf. Max is a senior at Olean High School. He's doing an internship here. He's going to actually go through all the departments in the municipality here, that we have. And it's a program. Max, what is the program again?
It's not really a program, I just kind of wanted to do an internship because I'm interested in career development.
Okay, thank you.
But,
Welcome, Max.
thank you.
Okay, all right. On behalf of the Common Council, welcome. Miscellaneous communications,
We have none.
city official reports.
We have none.
How about proposed legislation and referrals?
PL 66-21 by Alderman Crawford. Referred to regular meeting Tuesday, October 26, 2021, for resolution by Council President. PL 67-21 by Alderman Crawford. Referred to regular meeting Tuesday, October 26, 2021, for resolution by Council President. PL 68-21 by Mayor Elliott. Referred to Committee of the Whole October 26, 2021, by Council President. PL 69-21 by Mayor Elliott. Referred to Committee of the Whole October 26, 2021, by Council President. PL 70-21 by Mayor Elliott. Referred to Committee of the Whole Tuesday, October 26, 2021, by Council President. PL 71-21 by Alderman Crawford. Referred to Committee of the Whole October 26, 2021, by Council President.
Okay, so before we jump into public comment, I would like to give an opportunity to any of the aldermen to make a statement at this time. All right, seeing none, will the clerk please read the public comment statement?
The public comment portion of the Common Council regular meeting is established to provide members of the community with the opportunity to publicly state their views, voice their concerns, or to provide input pertinent to any issue affecting city government. Additionally, the mayor, common council members, and city department heads encourage any person with questions to contact them, their offices.
All right, very good. At this time, I will open the public comment. Please, if you would like to speak, approach the podium, state your name and address, and you'll have up to 5 minutes.
I'm here representing the Olean Community Theater. I think we had sent Mr. Gonzalez here a letter. What had happened was...
I'm sorry, Ben. Would you please state your name and address?
Oh, sorry, yes.
For
My name is Benjamin Hollenby.
Thank you.
I live at 3021 Westwood Road, Olean, New York. And I'm the vice president of the Olean Community Theater.
Thank you.
Sorry. There was a mix-hap in the filing of the deed and at the assessor's office, and we had never actually received the mail from the city regarding the assessment on the temple that we had purchased to convert into a theater. And such, we've been levied with a tax bill that would be detrimental to the organization, and we have sent a letter to several people within the county, the school board, and the city here requesting relief from those taxes.
Okay.
We'd sent an email about 3 weeks ago, and what it is we have mixed the grievance day and everything, because mail was actually going to the other theater in town, not to us, oddly enough. So we'd just like to bring that to your attention, and any relief that you guys could give us would be greatly appreciated. The tax bills on a building like that would far exceed what any funds that we have available as a community theater. We've been part of this community for 40 plus years. It'd be a shame to see us fall apart because of a filing mistake. At the end of the day, some paperwork that should have just been corrected sooner than later.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Holby. Anyone else? Anyone else? Anyone else? All right, at this time, I will call the public comment closed. On to finance and bills.
The auditor has processed bills and claims against the city of Olean as fairly submitted to each alderman and recommends payment thereof. Whereas the auditor has presented to the common council bills and claims against the city of Olean totaling $1,759,446.34 for the budget and recommends payment thereof. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the said being and hereby audited and allowed, and the auditor is hereby hereby authorized and directed to draw warrants for the payment thereof at the amount set opposite each respective claim. We will need sponsor for this one.
Okay, very good. Any final questions or comments on finance and bills? Seeing none, I'll entertain a sponsor.
That's right.
Sponsored by Alderman Witt. Do I get a second? Second by, it's a tie, Alderman Pence. All right, will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Witt,
Yes.
Alderman Panis,
Yes.
Alderman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Alderman Bernard,
Yes.
Alderman Robinson,
Yes.
Alderman Anastasia,
Yes.
and Alderman Crawford.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right, into resolutions. So there were a couple last-minute resolutions which come November 19th. That's going to have to most likely come to an end. So I'm going to make a motion to suspend the rules. Could I get a second, please? Second by Alderman Anastasia. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, and I'll make a motion to amend the agenda to include for the consideration of Resolution 69-21 and Resolution 82-21. So this is just to amend the agenda to include these resolutions for consideration. I'll make that motion. Could I get a second, please?
Second.
Second by Alderman Robinson. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, so we may continue on.
Resolution 77-21, PL 66-21, authorizing the installation of a street light on National Grid pole number 32 on West Henley Street. This one will be sponsored.
Okay, so if you recall, a couple of weeks ago, we received an update from a member of the community on West Henley Street about a area, darker part of the street, and there was a drug deal kind of gone bad in that neighborhood. I did go over there. It is, I think, part of the tree canopy in that area is kind of blocking some of the other streetlights. And so talked to the residents, and as such, I'm requesting that we add a streetlight on pole 32 on West Henley Street. I talked to Director Ring about this and did not see any issue or consideration. And now, especially with the conversion of all of our lights being LED, the cost really for the additional streetlight is minimal and material to the city on an ongoing basis. So, are there any questions or comments? All right, so I would make this motion, or I will sponsor, please, and I believe Alderman Anastasia, you were interested in seconding? Yeah. Okay. Seeing no other questions, will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Witt,
Yes.
Alderman Panis,
Yes.
Alderman Gonzalez,
Yes.
Alderman Bernard,
Yes.
Alderman Robinson,
Yes.
Alderman Anastasia,
Yes.
and Alderman Crawford.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead, Lance.
Resolution 78-21, PL 67-21, to designate the time for the common council meeting to be 6 p.m. This too will need sponsor.
Okay, so we had our conversation on this last Tuesday, and we do need a formal resolution. So from here on out, this will move our regular meeting time for the regular meetings, the second and fourth Tuesday of the month, to 6 p.m. We don't need a formal resolution to move our committee nights on the first and third to 6 p.m. That way, there's just consistency. Everybody knows. You don't have to think about what Tuesday it is. 6 p.m. across the board. Any final comments or questions on this?
Solid idea. Good. Yep.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so I'll go ahead and sponsor that. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Second by Alderman Gonzalez. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Witt,
Yes.
Alderman Panis,
Yes.
Alderman Gonzalez,
Yes.
Alderman Bernard,
Yes.
Alderman Robinson,
Yes.
Alderman Anastasia,
Yes.
and Alderman Crawford.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Resolution 79-21, PL 68-21 by Alderman Witt, seconded by Alderman Anastasia, to designate Mayor William Elliott as the authorized representative for the Coronavirus Relief Supplemental Appropriation Act funding for the Cattaraugus County Olean Airport.
All right, this was just discussed. Any final comments or questions? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Witt,
Yes.
Alderman Pettis,
Yes.
Alderman Gonzalez,
Yes.
Alderman Bernard,
Yes.
Alderman Robinson,
Yes.
Alderman Anastasia,
Yes.
and Alderman Crawford.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Resolution 80-21, PL 69-21 by Alderman Ennis, seconded by Alderman Bernard, to designate Mayor William Elliott as the authorized representative for the American Rescue Plan Act funding for the Cattaraugus County Olean Airport.
Okay, this too was discussed previously in committee of the whole. Are there any comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Witt,
Yes.
Alderman Ennis,
Yes.
Alderman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Alderman Bernard,
Yes.
Alderman Robinson,
Yes.
Alderman Anastasia,
Yes.
and Alderman Crawford.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Resolution 81-21, PL 70-21 by Alderman Crawford, seconded by Alderman Witt, to designate Mayor William Elliott as the authorized representative for the Coronavirus Relief and Economic Security Act funding for the Cattaraugus County Airport.
This too was discussed. Any final questions? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Witt,
Yes.
Alderman Pettis,
Yes.
Alderman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Alderman Bernard,
Yes.
Alderman Robinson,
Yes.
Alderman Anastasia,
Yes.
and Alderman Crawford.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Resolution 82-21, PL 9, to support the Olean City.
Wait, let me just skip one. 69-21? You missed one. Resolution 69-21, PL 60-21, to amend Chapter 20 of the City of Olean Code of Ordinances, Solid Waste Management and Recycling. And so, this was, yeah, this was one that there was a filing, or I should say an agenda, a previous agenda error. So this was kind of one of those situations where we had to make a correction, but this was discussed previously in committee. If you remember, we all received presentation from Director Ring on updating the contract for the waste management services, which it will allow for the use of stickers as well as monthly tote contracts, and in addition to exclusivity, exclusive rights for the collection of garbage and recyclables in the city of Olean. Okay. Are there any comments or questions on this? All right, so I'll entertain a sponsor.
I'll sponsor.
Sponsored by Alderman Witt. Did I get a second? Thank you. Alderman Benz. All right, will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Witt,
Yes.
Alderman Pettis, Alderman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Alderman Bernard,
Yes.
Alderman Robinson,
Yes.
Alderman Anastasia,
Yes.
and Alderman Crawford.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
So this next one was brought forward to me by Alderman Robinson for something to entertain your consideration. It is Resolution 82-21, OPL, to support the Olean City School District students and their rights as outlined in the City of Olean School District Code of Conduct. So I'll turn this over to Alderman Robinson.
Thank you. So this is something that I feel like a lot of people want to shy away from, and I've never been one to shy away from a fight or controversy. That's part of my personality, and I'm encouraging the council to step up and do the same. This issue is something that's been brewing inside after the council symbolically and unanimously sponsored the resolution where the mayor even accidentally voted to support the Siemens employees and in keeping the jobs here in Olean. I wanted to touch on another topic here in Olean. Another alderman and myself, we showed up for the Olean school students and showed them support by showing up to their rally, and although we were silent. That wasn't enough for me, and I battled with that silence since then. I think it's time that we as a council showed our students that we don't need to remain silent and that we don't need to make this political. This isn't about politics at all, and unlike Buffalo, we don't have a common council committee of education. But this is about the community. A community coming together to umbrella our children, to protect them and shield them from harm, whether physical, verbal, or mental. We want to show them that they are not alone, and that sometimes you have to stand up for what you believe is right, regardless of the adversity. Whether you have a child or not, we should always strive to protect our youth from harm at all costs. Outlined in the Code of Conducts on the Olean City School District website, they have 8 codes written. Briefly, they have a right to be happy and be treated with kindness. Number 2, I have a right to be myself. Number 3, I have a right to be safe. Number 4, I have a right to hear and be heard. Number 5, I have a right to learn. Number 6, I have a right to a pleasant environment in this school. Number 7, I have a right to work in this school. And finally, I have a right to a drug and alcohol-free school. We are stronger together, so let's all sponsor this resolution to show our Olean students, their parents, our community, and the rest of the city that we're here to support their safety and their rights that they're entitled to in our school districts according to the Olean City School District Code of Conduct. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Alderman Robinson. Any comments or questions? Alderman Nguyen?
Yes, as previously stated by Alderman Crawford, it was on the previous resolution that we don't need a formal resolution to support something. And I would suggest that we don't do a formal resolution to do this, that we just formally say we support it. I have 4 children that went through the Olean School District. Other people sitting here have children. I think once we start putting resolutions out, basically we put our name on telling another board what to do. That's their job. I wasn't elected to a school board. None of us were. And I think if we start doing that, when do we stop? When do we send a resolution to the county legislators telling them, we disagree with what you're doing? Maybe we should. But I've always, being an elected official, and I was just talking to our human resource officer the other day, and he said you have to walk a fine line. There's your seat as an elected official and your personal feelings. I love our kids, and I think what's going on in the school district personally is wrong, and I think it needs to be settled. But I don't think, if you want to say we support our kids tonight, I will 100% back that, but I don't think we need a resolution to do that. And that's just my personal opinion, and I just think once you do that, you're opening a can of worms that, what's next?
Okay. Alderman Gonzalez.
So I actually agree with Alderman Witt on this topic. I think that, anybody who reads this, of course, I support this, right? I know I'm aware of this controversy that's going on with the school. I'll even go to say that person who said all that stuff shouldn't be employed there, in my personal opinion, right? They should part ways with that person. I have 2 kids that go to that school, or they go to Olean High School. I have a vested interest in that. But there's already an elected body in place to make sure that these values and these policies are upheld, right? Common Council doesn't need to do this. What does this actually accomplish, right? I would say that this is empty and toothless and accomplishes nothing but wade us as a legislative body into this controversy. It can do no good, right? All it is just empty words that do nothing.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, the empty words, if this is empty words and it doesn't do anything, then there really shouldn't be any fear in saying, I support this, and saying yes to it.
Okay. I mean, since we're kind of going around the table here, you know, personally, I know we've all felt the unsettled emotion in our community. A couple weeks ago, I tried to remind us as a community, and interestingly, that the school district signed on board as one of the members of the Charter for Compassion as well. And I read, you know, from that weeks back to remind us all that we are a compassionate community. Now, I don't know if I necessarily have any issues with what's being stated here because it's an existing policy. We're not suggesting they take a different policy. It's an existing policy that's been adapted by the district. And I don't necessarily have a problem with supporting that for the sake that I have two children in the district too, as well as the children that I represent in Ward 5, as well as the children we represent in Olean as well. Although I think the points that Alderman Witt and Alderman Gonzalez is well taken as well. If I felt that it was in some way communicating to another board, another elected group, to do something completely opposite of what they have already put in their policy, then I would be against that. But I don't see that here. Alderman Anastasia, did you have something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you took the words right out of my mouth, John. I agree with what you just said. Basically, we're not telling the school board what to do. Alderman Robinson apparently got this off the website. It's all of their code of conduct is already existing. We're not trying to change anything. We're just reiterating what rules they should be following and hopefully bringing light to the school board that we don't tolerate what's been taking place at the Olean School District lately. And I don't see a problem with that myself.
I'm sure you'll think the same thing when the county does something similar to us next year, right? Or if it was the other way around. I'm just putting that out there.
That's a fair point.
I just think we're opening ourselves up to a lot, and this is already stated. People that look on the school website already see this. This is all common sense. So I just think it's a feel-good thing to do, good for us, but to me, it kind of puts us in a really bad position in a way, because as Alderman Gonzalez just said, so when we do something wrong, they could come in and say, you know, you people are a bunch of idiots and we agree with you. We passed a resolution to say that. I just think you're opening something that we don't have to. We can make this statement without it being a resolution. I think that's the point I'm making, is it doesn't have to be, as you said earlier. We don't need to have a formal resolution to support our kids. I would definitely go with that, but not as a resolution.
And what's the next step too? So we're gonna pass this now, and then the school board will finally get around to making a ruling on this, and they'll decide not to fire the guy, and then, you know, now we're considering a resolution urging them to reconsider that. I mean, where are we gonna end? It's just all around inappropriate for one legislative body to make resolutions directing at another.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Alderman Robinson, what would you like to do?
I mean, I didn't do this for nothing. I feel like we're not saying that anyone did anything wrong. As a matter of fact, from what I read, I don't recall saying anyone did anything wrong. I just wanted the council to pretty much come together and go along with the resolution, but, interesting. I think I'd rather have it for the record and just go forward.
Okay. Very good. Any other comments or questions?
I'd make a motion to table this.
I second.
Well, a motion has been made and a motion's been seconded. So at this time, I would say all in favor of tabling the motion.
Aye.
So I heard 2 ayes opposed to tabling the motion.
Aye. Which was,
Aye.
So let's try this again, all right?
First time, don't know how it works.
A motion was made and the motion was seconded, so that's up for consideration. So the motion was made to table this proposal, this resolution. So I asked for ayes, and so let's try this again. All in favor of tabling the resolution?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed?
aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Okay. So that motion is struck down. So will the clerk please call the roll? Yes, we do need sponsors, sorry. So,
I will most definitely sponsor.
okay, so we've got Alderman Robinson, and we have a second by
I'll second. No more.
Alderman Anastasia.
Thank you.
All right. So will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Witt,
The vote was 2-2, so I'm not sure how that works. But I will vote to support my children in any way I can, but I don't think it should be in the resolution form, so I'm voting no.
Okay. And the vote was not 2-2. Alderman Barnard and Alderman Panis
Oh,
both
I'm
said.
sorry, I didn't hear you guys. Did they just nod, or?
They spoke.
No? I need my hearing checked.
I heard them over here.
I heard Panis.
Okay.
Alderman
Let's
Panis,
just-
sorry.
Okay, let's try this again.
Alderman Witt,
Yes, you already
I
voted.
already voted.
Alderman Panis,
Yes.
Alderman Gonzalez,
I agree with Alderman Witt. I support everything in every word of this resolution. I don't support it being a resolution, so I vote no.
Alderman Bernard,
Yes.
Alderman Robinson,
Yes.
Alderman Anastasia,
Yes.
and Alderman Crawford.
As I said, fundamentally, completely agree, not telling another agency what to do, except there's already a commitment and existing policy here. So I support that, so I would say yes as well.
Motion carries 5-2.
Okay, anything else for this evening? Seeing nothing, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Could I get a second, please?
Second.
Second by Alderman Robinson, all in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carried, and